So the big question that everybody's asking, how does the new 4K Firestick MAX stack up against the second generation Fire TV Cube? Now the second gen Fire TV Cube came out in 2019, and in case you didn't know, it really is the fastest Amazon device that you can buy today. But with this new 4K Firestick MAX coming out in a couple of weeks, especially with the promises of 40% faster CPU, can it really compete with that bigger cube? Well, in this video today, let me quickly break down the differences between the 4K Firestick MAX and the second gen cube. We'll talk about the main differences, the positives, the negatives, and I'll also show you a side-by-side comparison of the current 4K Firestick versus that second generation cube, just so you can see exactly how much faster it is. So please do take a moment to hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So with all of that being said, let's get started. If you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with the latest tech tutorials, the latest Firestick, Android and Android TV tips and tricks, then please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's a small click from you, but it makes a big difference to me. Thank you. Okay, so in the left corner, we can see the all new 4K Firestick MAX with the exact specification that Amazon promised. Now let's compare that to what we have with the 2019 second generation Fire TV Cube. Now first up, we have the quad-core 1.8 GHz processor on the 4K Firestick MAX, and this is what Amazon are promising is going to be faster than the current 4K Firestick by 40%. But unfortunately guys, if you put that up against what we have on the second generation Fire TV Cube, which is the S922X, it completely destroys it guys. I mean, we're talking about a hexa-core processor at a much higher clock speed, and putting these two side by side, even with that 40% promised increase, the second gen Fire TV Cube completely destroys it. And you can just see on now how the current 4K Firestick in terms of benchmarks compares to that cube. Next up, we have 2 gigs RAM on the 4K Firestick MAX, which is the exact same as the second generation Fire TV Cube. And this is one of the issues I had with the cube when it was first announced, that if you really are going to call this the most powerful device, then maybe just bump up the RAM to 3 gig or even 4 gig just for that extra breathing room. But as you can see, both devices do have the same amount of RAM. Now the storage is where it gets a little bit interesting, because it is always one of the contention points on all of these Amazon devices, that why do Amazon ship it with such low storage? And we can see that the 4K Firestick MAX has the exact same as the current 4K Firestick, which is 8 gigs of storage. But on the second generation Fire TV Cube, we can see you get double that storage. So if storage is of a concern, then having that extra breathing room will just make your experience that much better. So you get double the storage on the second generation Fire TV Cube. Now Fire OS, as we know with the current 4K Firestick, it's running Fire OS 6, which is Android 7, but the new 4K MAX will run Fire OS 7, which is the exact same as the second generation Fire TV Cube. Now Wi-Fi, interestingly enough, if that's very important to you, and if you have the latest Wi-Fi 6 router or router already in your house, then if you really do want the faster speeds, you will actually get that on the 4K MAX, because that actually supports Wi-Fi 6, but that's something that's not supported on that second generation Fire TV Cube. Now HDMI both do support HDMI 2.1, so now another benefit, which was a bit surprising, is that the 4K MAX also supports hardware AV1 decoding, but again that's not supported on the second generation Fire TV Cube. Now this is another contention point. So when the Fire TV Cube was announced, being the latest and greatest and most powerful Amazon device, unfortunately they also just shipped that with the standard micro USB 2 port. So I mean, it would have been great if it was a full-size USB port and ideally USB 3, but we can see both devices only have a micro USB 2 ports. So for example, if you want to use an Ethernet adapter, even if your Ethernet adapter supports gigabit traffic, because of the USB 2 speed limitation, the most speed you'll get using those adapters is around about 400 to 450 megabits. So it is a big limitation that on such a powerful device like the Cube, they still stuck with USB 2. And right now with the newly announced 4K Firestick MAX, again they've just gone with the micro USB 2 port. So Here we can see the specs side by side. Now we can see in most cases, because of that really beefier CPU and also double storage, if you really do want the most powerful, fastest device with the most storage, we can see that the second generation Fire TV Cube is a clear winner. Let me just do some real life tests because as you guys know, yep, benchmarks are great, numbers are great, specs are great, but in real world usage tests, let's see how that cube compares with the current 4K Fire Stick. Now let's just start with a bit of gaming because I've already got that running, but you can see straight away with the much faster CPU and also much better GPU, the cube can easily emulate this PSP game, whereas the 4K Fire Stick, you can see it is a little bit choppy, it's definitely not as smooth, and even when I actually play these games, the experience is just the same. So again, for gaming or emulation, you'll have a much better experience on the cube versus the 4K Fire Stick. Okay, let's try some Wi-Fi speed tests. So here is the Wi-Fi speed test number 1 on the 4K Fire Stick, connected to a 5 GHz network in my house with the router downstairs. Let's see what kind of speeds we get on the 4K Fire Stick. Okay, so we're pushing around about 297 down. Let's do test number 1 on the second gen cube. So again, 5 GHz Wi-Fi, both devices in my room. So we can see that the second generation Fire TV Cube is a little bit faster. So we're getting 350 meg down on test number 1. So 290 down is what we have for test number 2 on the 4K Fire Stick. Let's do test number 2 on the second gen cube. Okay, so I think it is fair to say that the second gen cube is giving us better Wi-Fi results than what we get on the 4K Fire Stick. So, and for test number 2 on the cube, we had 365 down. But it will be very interesting to see once we get the Wi-Fi 6 on the 4K Firestick MAX, what happens to these speed tests. So if you guys are interested for these comparisons, make sure you are subscribed. Let's try searching with the A word. So what's the weather in London? So real world test, you can see definitely that the Fire TV Cube is that bit faster. You get those results a little bit quicker. What's the weather in Chelsea? Yeah, every time we get a quicker response on the second generation Fire TV Cube. And a final test with the application. Let's start them up. So ready, steady, go. Okay, we get the logo first. Yeah, so I mean, it is only a couple of seconds, but we can see that it is faster on the second generation Fire TV Cube. But it will be interesting to see once we get that speed boost, the 40% speed boost on the new 4K MAX, how that compares with the rest of these devices. So that's all for this video, guys. Many thanks for watching. Lots of you are asking about the new 4K Firestick MAX and how it compares with the second generation Fire TV Cube. And I'm hoping with the stuff you've seen today, with the side-by-side specifications, you guys have now got your answers. So really do appreciate your support. Do leave me a comment below and let me know. And I'll hopefully catch up with you guys real soon. Thanks.